What's going on, homies? Hope you're having a great day so far. Hope you're feeling good, and I hope you're training hard. In today's podcast, I have my guy, Brian Saramago, coming on. He's originally from Long Island, New York, New Hyde Park, so he's a Long Island native. Today is episode 101 of the podcast. I really appreciate you tuning in with your ears and your eyes. Brian is a 24-year-old striker who's been playing as a professional for 2 years now. He played 1 year in Slovenia, and this is his first year in Portugal. He actually scored 19 goals last year in 35 games in the second tier in Slovenia before making a move to the second tier in Portugal. Hear all about his story in this podcast. You're going to learn a lot. You're really going to enjoy this one. He's a great guy. I will see you at the end. Brian, what's good, brother? Thanks for taking the time to come on. I know we've been trying to do this for a couple of months. You're a busy man. I'm a busy man, so glad we finally got this going. Long Island native, bro, straight from New Hyde Park out in Portugal. Really excited to hear about your journey, man. So, yeah, just if you get us started real quick, tell us where you're from, where you're currently playing, your position, and then just want to kind of go through your journey a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm originally from, like you said, New Hyde Park, New York. Grew up there my whole life, basically until I made a move to Slovenia. And grateful enough to make another move to where I'm at right now, which is B-SAD, currently playing in the second division in Portugal. Team's located in Lisbon.
Nice. Lisbon's not a bad destination, man.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very nice, but if you come and visit, you should probably bring some sneakers because there's a lot of hills.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. A lot of walking, but I've been there. Good vibes all around. People are friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we talked about, definitely helps you speak Portuguese, but we'll hop into it a little bit. So yeah, if you could, take us through your journey as a youngster in New York. Where'd you grow up playing? How'd you develop? When did you start playing the beautiful game?
Well, I started from the moment I could walk. I know my parents told me that like this little red soccer ball. The second I started walking, I was already walking towards the ball and kicking it, and I'd always have the ball with me everywhere I went. It was like a part of me. I couldn't leave the house without a ball. If I was sleeping, I'd be sleeping with the ball sometimes. It was just I guess just love from the start, and yeah, and then I started playing organized football at I believe age 3, which is where I started playing for New Hyde Park Wildcats. Um, and then I played there until I was 7 years old, and I made the move to Gotchi, who play in Queens. Um, Spent a lot of years there, and I think that those years at Gotchi were really fundamental for me to become the player that I am. I always say that one of the best coaches I've ever had was Paul McGlynn, who was the coach of that team. He focused a lot on the technical aspects of the game. We would play a lot of passing patterns, a lot of possession games at a very young age, and I think that helped me develop a lot technically at a very young age. And the main focus, I remember he used to get really upset when we would just kick it out from the back. He always wanted us to build out of the back. I know one of the
Nice.
the number one rules for the goalkeepers were they weren't allowed to on goal kicks to just kick it forward. We had to build out of the back no matter what. Even if the team was pressing, we had to build out of the back. That was one of the number one rules. I think myself and the team developed into players that we believe that 3 or 4 of us, 15 made it to pros. So
Wow.
shows the fundamental principle that we were taught at such a young age. helped us get to where we are. And then I was grateful enough to get an opportunity to go play at Red Bulls when I was 14 years old. I went over there and did a trial with them. I was blessed enough to make the team for the under 15s. And I played there until I went to college, um, where I ended up going to Loyola University, Maryland, which was a good time. I think I developed a lot as a player as well. In terms of tactically, there we focused a lot more on tactics. We
Mm.
see the game differently, and just just overall helped me a lot. Even off the pitch, I think that going to school helped me become a better man in terms of maturing a lot faster than I feel like when I went into college as a freshman. I was really immature. I remember I used to skip classes.
Yeah, I could fully relate, bro.
I just had that idea that I'm just going to be here 6 months and for this freshman year and go to the pros.
Mm.
Didn't feel like it was kind of a reality check for myself to really start working and fine tuning my weaknesses and just become a better person. I know that, especially my freshman year, I'd be going to bed like probably 3:30, 4 in the morning. I had training at
Yeah.
7. Like I'd be
Wow.
training and 3 hours of sleep, and it came to a point where I was like, I can't be doing this anymore. I have to be more professional. If that's, which was my goal, was to be a professional footballer, and you can't be doing these things and expect to be a professional. And yeah, so I stayed there for 4 seasons. Then in 2020, I graduated. The plan to get drafted, hopefully by a team in the MLS draft. All the drafts had me going in the first round. The second round, draft day came around. For the first round, name wasn't picked. Second round went on, my name wasn't picked. I waited a couple of days for the third and fourth round, and third round, my name wasn't picked. Fourth round, name wasn't picked. Draft was over, and I went undrafted. And I feel like that was another reality check for myself in terms of seeing that I really truly believe that I was capable of at least having a chance or getting a chance to go to preseason with a team and show my capabilities. It just made me want it more. It built like a even more fire in myself to chase my dream and prove all these teams that they missed out on.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Not to interrupt you, but you explained it a little bit. But what was your overall reaction to that? Obviously, like you said, you were expecting to get drafted, but I like to always go into the mental aspect because I think that's the most important part of becoming a pro and being a pro. I think the most important part is not letting your emotions get the best of you and just continuing to do the right things and stay on the right track. And eventually, if you are good enough, which obviously you are, you're going to get there. And I think it's about persistence, grit, and consistency. I think those are the three most important words because, me and you, we probably know a lot of players, who are unbelievable talents, and they, maybe some of them got babied, they got treated maybe overly well. And then once they hit an obstacle, it was like, you know what, think it's enough. Think it's time to hang the boots up. So what was your reaction to that? Because obviously you're at a good level right now. So you've gotten past that. I'm sure you've hit some more obstacles, which we'll speak about in the later conversation.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, when for that fourth round, I was obviously very upset. Like you said, like, is this even worth it? And maybe I'm not good enough. Obviously, these thoughts start going through your head when you expect something and it doesn't come out. But I remember sitting on my couch, just head down, my like eyes watery because I was just upset that my dream, I felt like it was like a failure to a certain extent. And I
Mm.
remember my mom telling me that like, this is just a bump in the road. You like, if these teams don't want you, that doesn't mean that you have to stop playing. You have to keep going and show people like what you're capable of. And I feel like that was I took 2 days to reflect, a couple of days to reflect on what happened, and I think that's when I flipped the switch and I decided, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely capable of playing at this level, so I'm just gonna have to train as hard as possible, and when the opportunity comes, I'm gonna be ready and I'm gonna take it. It was simple as that. After that, I would start doing, I was basically doing 2 a days, in the field in the morning, shooting, just stuff with the ball, little sprints, and training like that. And in the afternoon, long runs just to build that endurance. I was doing that until I finally got the call to go to preseason, which was with Red Bull 2 at that time. So yeah, it was definitely a little bit, it was like a challenge mentally, but I feel like you just have to overcome these obstacles and just keep believing in yourself. And that's
Mm.
basically what I did.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, one thing you said there that's, hugely important is, it sounded like your parents, have supported you. Have you always felt that support from them? I mean, you told me before that, every single one of your family members grew up in Portugal except yourself, so obviously they have that football culture within them. Have they always supported, your football and your dream of becoming a pro?
Yeah, I mean, my parents are definitely probably the main reason that I'm here. They've sacrificed so much for me growing up in terms of um, me making sure that I'm at practice all the time. They took great pride in getting me to every training, and I take pride in that as well. That I can say that when I was growing up, it was very rare for me to miss a single session. Even now, I feel like I'm still like that. Um, I could have a little knock and stuff like that. And I know some players would probably just sit out with a little knock, but mentally, that's just not how I grew up. I love training and doing everything, and I'm always there, and I take pride in being at every session at all times. And my parents are a big part of that. I know my dad would leave work, especially when I was playing at Gotchi, since it was in Queens. It was 30, 45 minutes with traffic, sometimes an hour. So my dad had to leave work early, and he took that sacrifice of leaving early, and then basically to make ends meet. My mom, since my dad was leaving early from work, my mom would sacrifice and she'd work kind of a double shift at her job to make up that money lost, and that uh, basically my dad was losing from leaving work
Mm.
basically every day. If it wasn't, if my dad had to stay at work, my mom would sacrifice and she would leave early to take me to practice. And I feel like that's the sacrifice that they made my whole childhood, and I'm very grateful that they did that, because if it wasn't for them, I feel like I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. And I feel like it's pretty cliche to say that about your parents. I feel like everyone says that, but in my circumstance, they truly helped me get to and reach my dream, basically, with all their sacrifice that they made while I was growing up.
Yeah, that's unreal, bro. And I think a lot of, it's easy for people, for example, if you speak about something, it's easy for someone to say, oh, that's cliche.
Yeah,
But the truth is, cliche sayings, things that are cliche for a reason. They work, but the hardest thing is to put the action in, and like you said, you mastered the art of showing up every single day. You still do that till this day. And, I'm sure, I mean, you can answer this for me, but, I've had a lot of, guys and girls on the podcast, and there are some specific ones that have said, a lot of the reason, the deep why, that they do it is to, not, obviously you do it for yourself, but in a way to pay back your parents for all they gave to
yeah,
you. So do you find, is that a motivation and a why for you to, keep working hard and keep, pursuing the next level?
yeah, for sure. Sometimes the life of a pro isn't always basically sunshine and rainbows. There's sometimes where you're very difficult and dark time, especially when you're not performing to your capabilities, and you just can't get over that. Something like just the simple fact of thinking about, I got to keep going, because if my parents were able to sacrifice so much, I can't just give up yet. I have to keep going. I have to show up. I have to always work my hardest, because what sometimes I even think about, it's not in terms of playing. You're training what, probably 90 minutes to 2 hours, and it's just 2 hours of work basically, compared to my mom working a double shift, which is 16 hours of work. Like that's true. That's true. That's truly hard. That's hard work. I mean, if if I can't sacrifice two hours of my time working at my max, and my mom can sacrifice all those hours at her max just to help me reach the point that I'm at right now, I feel like it just wouldn't be just. And I feel like that those things I definitely think about when I'm kind of, even when I see myself slacking off a bit, I flip that switch just thinking about that, and I tell myself, like, you have to work harder, that you're not working at your max, and that's not
Mm-hmm.
acceptable. I feel like
Mm.
you have to always work at your max, and especially when I think of when I'm playing, if I'm technically not on a day, like maybe my shooting isn't on or my passing is off, like, okay, I feel like that happens to everyone. But in terms of work ethic, with me, I feel like it's unacceptable to not be working at 100%. That's something that you can control, and stuff like that. Missing shots one day, that's okay, that happens. But not showing up and working at your max, I feel like that, in my books, and to me personally, I don't accept that for myself. I think that also is something that's helped me get to this point.
Mm. Yeah, dude, that's so well said. Two things I want to cover there. I mean, you know, I think one of the best ways to get motivated is to just change your perspective. Like you said, and that's the main reason I have this podcast. Professional football isn't all sunshine and rainbows. It's easy to post Instagram pictures with a jersey of you signing at a club, but no one sees that work that's been put behind those closed doors. And the main reason I have this is because there's a lot of young players who have the dream, but it's so easy to talk about it. But doing those actions every single day, and like you said, showing up every single day, no matter what, getting on that pitch is the hardest part. So, when you have that ability, when you hit lows, being able to change the perspective and finding the why for why you do it. And then also putting yourself in your loved one's shoes as well, and seeing how much they've sacrificed for you. You just say to yourself, it's like, you know what, they've done that for me. This isn't that hard, and I think that, correlates to your second point where it's, you're not going to be on every single day. You're not going to be at 100% sharp every single day, but you can control your work ethic. You can control, making that last minute sprint, tracking back, constantly making those runs, especially as a striker, constantly making those runs if you're not getting the ball, but then, you make 10 runs, 9 of them, you don't get the ball. The 10th one, you get that ball slipped in, you score a goal for your team and it's 1-0. So yeah, I mean, I think that's huge. So, I think you've said you do a lot of it for your parents, but where do you think you kind of developed that work ethic? Do you think it's do you think it was from watching your parents put in the work to give you a good football future, and then that ability to, because you've played at some great clubs, you got Gotchi and New York Red Bulls. Do you think all that combined is where you developed your work ethic?
Yeah, I think it's just basically, I feel like my parents have blue collar jobs. Just seeing them work so hard and stuff like that, I think it's instilled work ethic in me. Yeah, basically, I think it's just from watching. It's really giving me that example of just working.
Love it.
Always doing your best at all times.
Love it. So yeah, like you said, you spent 4 years at Loyola, and I think you probably have seen it in Europe. I think it's getting better, since we have a lot of Americans, doing much better throughout the European scene. But can you you explain that you got better tactically at Loyola. You improved as a player. So for the Europeans who are wondering how college soccer is, how would you explain it? How do you think it helped you improve? And would you recommend a European player to pursue college and then the possibility of playing professionally in the U.S.? What would be your take, since you spent some time in Europe and you obviously spent 4 years at a great D1 school?
Yeah, I mean, for me, one of the main reasons I stayed outside of the football aspect, I feel like it was very important for me to graduate from school and have that quote unquote backup plan. And I think that's one of the main reasons, because at the end of the day, you never know that what can happen on the field. It's a contact sport. Sometimes you have injuries that aren't even contact, like ACL injuries and stuff like that. And one day to the next, you can be on the field, and then the next day you're not on the field, and you don't have much if you don't have that. So in my eyes, that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to continue and stay. But in terms of tactical side and stuff, I think I was lucky enough to have a coach in Steve Nichols and an assistant coach like Mike Marciano, who's now the head coach at Drexel, um, to train and coach us. Sessions were very tactical based. Freshman year, in terms of, we played a 4-3-3, and later on, I think my junior year and my senior year, we ended up playing a 3-5-2, which put me in a different type of playing system. I grew up playing the 4-3-3, and just playing a different system in 3-5-2, it allowed me to be able to work with another striker, which was something that I wasn't used to playing in a two. It made me see the game differently, um, different runs, and work with another forward. If he checks in, I make the running behind, vice versa. Little things like that. I feel like it helped me improve in my game, and especially I feel like that's an important aspect because you never know what coach likes what formation. So the fact that I was able to get that background in a two front and obviously in a 4-3-3 and 1-9, me be able to adapt to different formations and see the game and know how to work within these systems. So I feel like that helped a lot. And then I also had the chance when I was growing up playing at Red Bulls and Gotchi. Trainings were always in the afternoon, but since I was at school, basically from 7 to 3, I would have half an hour at home just to eat something real quick in the car to training. And by the time I get home, especially at Red Bulls, it was 45 minutes to get there. So if our trainings were at 6, it would probably end at around 8. I'd get home at around 10. It was basically going straight to bed, getting home, eating something real quick, going straight to bed, and just repeat. There wasn't any time for me to do any extra work. And I feel like at school, at university, um, I tried my best to block off the whole morning and only have classes in the afternoon. For we would train at 8, we'd end at 10, and I'd have basically an hour and a half to myself where I could work on different things in terms of finishing and other things that I wanted to work on, even going to the gym and stuff like that, working on these different things. It was definitely something that helped me develop more than what I was used to.
Interesting. Yeah. So, that basically taught you probably how to live like a pro, where you're at right now, and taught you those habits. With that being said, after playing at Loyola, you said, you had that time where you didn't get drafted and you were upset. And then you made that move to Red Bulls, and that's when you signed your first pro contract, right? At Red Bulls too?
So
Okay.
Red Bull they invited me to preseason with them. I went to preseason, made it made it through the whole preseason, but they told me they still weren't too sure about signing me. They were looking at other people options, and basically they still wanted to keep me around because I guess I was performing well, and they weren't 100%. So I was basically just training with them. The first week of the season started, I was still with them, and then going into the second week was when COVID hit. So everything was shut down. I still remember when we were out there at training, and one of the guys went inside, and a couple of guys stayed out doing extra stuff. I was out there just uh, basically doing finishing, and one of the guys that went inside came back out and said that they just canceled the season, not the season, but they just basically put a pause to the season because of COVID.
Wow.
So there's no game tomorrow. And then obviously it was basically everybody was trying to figure out like what was going on. They ended up sending us all home. Um, the season was basically put on pause, and so it was basically a month and a half. I don't remember exactly how long it was that pause was, but we were basically doing Zoom workouts, and they were sending like running drills and all these things for us to be doing while we were at home. And I remember when they decided that they could hold basically individual trainings. They were having they had a Zoom call for the whole first team and the second team for what was going to go on when they came back, they, like where they could park and all these different protocols that they had to follow step by step. Basically, at the end of that, it was in the Zoom call at the end. Well, told me that basically since COVID, obviously the funds were took a pretty bad hit. Or he said that they weren't going to sign anybody, and they were going to stay with the current guys that were already signed, and just instead of signing more players, that they were just going to use the academy guys. So he basically told me that I didn't have a contract. Basically, where I was obviously upset again because I was no team. It was during COVID, so no teams were having trials. It was basically just whoever has a team, you're able to train, and whoever doesn't, basically, you don't really know when your next trial can be, or what your next opportunity. So I went back to training on my own and grinding. I feel like those months of just training on my own definitely some of the darkest, I feel like, time of life in terms of mentally stuff. At the end, looking back now, I feel like that period helped me mentally a lot. I feel like I'm a lot stronger mentally now than I was at the time. Thanks to just always being able to get up and telling myself that you have to do the work, put in the work, because it's all going to be worth it in a couple months, years time. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love that, dude, and you know, there's training individually is unbelievable. It's excellent, but it has to be, obviously, it's a supplement to team training, it's a supplement to games, to improving as a footballer. And I think one of the most difficult things, like you said there, is, you know, you got a team, you know, you're doing well, you're playing well, you have something to look forward to put all the training that you've done, you know, individually and with your team into the game. And then, you know, unfortunately, you get that message from the coach. But yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, I mean, just like we talked about before, it's easy to read mental toughness books. It's easy to read quotes. But, you know, when you go to the wall, the weather is not great. It's just you and a ball. You know, you're working on your first touch, or, you know, you're in the rain, you know, working on shooting or dribbling work, stuff like that. You're going to the gym late nights. That's when you really build that mental toughness. You know, that's when you really build your mind. So, how long were you doing that? You know, how long were you training individually before you got that opportunity in Slovenia?
I was doing that from, I came back in late June. So I was doing that for 4 months. In September, I came over here to Portugal to go on trial with a couple of teams in the second division and stuff. But it basically was just training. They weren't really looking for anything. It was basically just I felt like I had to do something really spectacular to be able to get on those teams. Like on the first trial that showed up, I felt like I was training well, but obviously these guys were playing games and were hardy, fitness. And when you come in just working individually, I feel like no matter how many miles or how many sprints you do on your own, there's nothing like that playing fitness in soccer. It's not the same. So I felt like I was obviously a little step behind in terms of that fitness with them. But even I was able to play a game with them on the weekend, like a friendly game, and came in, if it was 0-0, I ended up scoring one of the goals and assisting on the other one. And I went home, basically just, I was with my dad and I was telling him, I'm confident. I did pretty well in trainings. I scored, assisted, won, they won the game 2-0. Basically, I don't know what else. I felt like I was so confident that I was going to make the team. And then a couple of days later, they called and they're like, no, we're not going to sign you. Nothing against you, but we're just going to stay with the team now and stuff like that. And after that, obviously was upset again, and basically was just stayed here a couple of months, just training with my uncle was playing in the fifth division, so I was basically just training with his team and living with my family here, just so I could have team training somewhere. Because, like I said, that soccer fitness and that team training is always better than going on your own. And then basically I just did that until January, February, when the USL teams opened up again, and I got a couple of invites to a couple of preseasons, and I went to preseason with Phoenix Rising to see if I would make it there, and I trained there a week. Same thing. After a week, they called me. They said, "We're not going to sign you. You're not the type of forward that we're looking for right now." And I just thanked them and said, "I appreciate you inviting me um, to this trial and everything. Wish you guys all the best." And then a couple of days later, probably 3 4 days later, I got a call from someone telling me that he knew a coach that was going over to Slovenia to coach in the second division, and he was interested in taking me over to Slovenia with him. And at first, I basically just laughed it off. I was basically
Yeah.
like, I don't know if I want to go to Slovenia. Um, it's not obviously it's not that glamorous, quote unquote,
Yeah.
of a country
Yeah.
to play. Obviously, you want to be playing in countries like Germany, Italy, myself, Portugal, Spain, England. So when you get an opportunity from a country like Slovenia, which isn't really known, or at least wasn't really known, it was something I wasn't interested in at first. But then obviously, sitting down and talking to my parents, they told me it's an opportunity. It's better than basically
Exactly.
it's training on your own and going on trials. Like, this is a contract already set. You don't have to go there on trial. Like, you have a contract. It's there. You're gonna get there and you're on the team, and you're gonna be able to showcase your capabilities. And you never know, it could open up more doors
Exactly.
to other countries, or even to to just reach the point that you envision yourself in reaching. And
Hmm.
that's when, after a couple of weeks, I called the assistant at the time, which was Zef Kabashi, um, and told him that all right, I'll head over there, and I ended up signing the contract and went there in June of 2021.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. I want to go into that a little bit, and I'm sure Slovenia surprised you. I haven't been there, but I want to go. I hear it's a beautiful country. But you don't have to say the name of the person who gave you that connection, but how did you build that connection with the person that recommended you to this club?
uh, the guy that recommended me was his name's David Harris.
Yeah,
He's
I know him. Yeah, I know him.
he's a top
Yeah,
guy.
legend.
I didn't know him personally before, but I know he tried to get me on a couple of summer teams with him. But since I was connected with Red Bull, I would spend those summers playing with the under 23s. So I know a couple of summers he tried to get me to go play with a couple of teams in Long Island, and basically just kept that connection. And he's just such a great guy. He knows he's someone that told me, even when sometimes I doubted myself, he even told me that he believes in me, and sees that I have I have the capability to play at a much higher level, and he wanted to do all he could to help me reach that potential that he sees in me. And these are the type of people that you need around you. They help you. They give you this boost, and I'm grateful that he was there and has helped me to get that Slovenia contract. Because if I never went, I wouldn't be sitting here in Portugal playing in the second league. We would still be playing the Cosmopolitan League in New York for nothing.
Mm,
So I'm extremely grateful for everything he's done with me. So yeah, I mean, sometimes you need these little blessings, especially
of course.
for me. I feel like it came at a time where I wasn't getting any blessings. I was basically always getting no's and just having people doubt me. So
Mm,
it was good to have someone there in the corner who believes in me.
100%. Yeah, no, I love that, dude. And just like you said, I mean, from the beginning of the conversation, you had built that mentality of constantly showing up, always being on the pitch, and you wouldn't have had this connection with David Harris if you didn't show up and you weren't playing at a top team like Red Bulls. So that's kind of the moral of the story for youngsters. Like, people will think, oh, yeah, there's some secret or some hack to play professionally. But as you've heard from Brian's story, as you've heard from a lot of other, athletes, probably most athletes that I've had on the podcast, it's you're going to hear a lot of no's before you hear that yes. And the only way to hear that yes is by preparing for the opportunity, like you said you were doing, and then just constantly being a professional on and off the pitch to build the right connections, you know. So yeah, man, great to hear. And then you went over to Slovenia. You scored what 19 goals in 35 games. So you did pretty well for yourself, huh?
Yeah, it was even when I got there, the head coach at the time told me to basically there was going to be he didn't expect me to come in and score goals right away, and just basically he thought that I say he thought he because at the time I started the season scoring, so it was something that he didn't really expect. He thought that I was going to need kind of a adaptation period, which thankfully I was able to jump in and get to scoring goals right away, and I think it helped my confidence, definitely to to just basically kickstart my career there even faster. Um, but yeah, it was very good. I think that the fact that scoring in that first league match, it definitely helped me in terms of confidence for the rest of the season, and it was a good season. Wish we finished higher. The league is pretty competitive. I feel like it definitely surpassed like my expectations. Like I said earlier, when I got
Mm,
to go to Slovenia, I didn't think it was gonna be as good quality, but it was a lot better than I expected, and I'm glad it was. And like you said, um, I know you mentioned that you want to go there because you heard it's beautiful, and it is a very beautiful country. People are nice there. I've never had any. I didn't have any bad experiences there, to be
that's
honest.
awesome.
Um, I know obviously they speak Slovenian there, and I didn't speak any Slovenian, and just the fact that I would make a little effort to say different words in Slovenian. I feel like they appreciated that a lot, and they basically just helped me, and just because I was giving that little bit of effort, I feel like they could see that I was trying, and they were really nice about it, and stuff like that. So it was a great experience, and yeah, I mean, I would definitely recommend if anybody that they get the opportunity to go there, they should definitely head over there and check it out
Mm,
because it's
a lot of
awesome.
nice nature, yeah.
Yeah, very nice
Yeah.
nature. Um, even the city Ljubljana is really nice. I know it was a bit difficult for me because I didn't have a car to head out there as much as I wanted to. But times that I was able to go out there, it was really nice just to walk around the city. Then you have Lake Bled, which is very beautiful. And then, like you said, just a lot of different places that you could go hiking and go on trails. Um,
Mm.
and yeah, it was
A lot of
awesome.
beautiful women as well,
Yeah,
huh? Yeah. That always helps. So yeah, man, how was, like you said, you kind of surpassed your expectations, Slovenia, and I think that's always great when you go into a place with lower or no expectations.
mhm.
How were the guys there? Were they accepting? How did you integrate into the team? How was that? Did that take some time, or I mean, obviously once you started banging goals, I'm sure they were your boy.
Yeah. No, I feel like the second that I got there, they were really accepting, and they would help a lot. I know the first couple of weeks when I was just getting adjusted to my apartment and stuff, a bunch of guys, a handful of them would reach out and ask me, "Do you need anything? Do you need me to take you to the grocery store and help you out? Like if you need something, just let me know." They're really understanding and really really helpful in that part. And I feel like it helped build that bond. Um, even even when they went out, like after our one of our first preseason game, um, they didn't hesitate to ask me to. They're like basically just said, "Oh, we're gonna head out to this place. But do you want to join?" And just simple things like that. At the time, basically,
Mm,
I was basically a stranger to them, and I know sometimes you don't really invite the new person out, but with them, it wasn't like that. They were very inviting, and they made me feel comfortable the second I got there. Until the second I left,
that's
they
awesome.
were great in that term. Very friendly, and I think it showed, and I feel like that definitely also played a part in me adapting even faster than usual, and being able
Hmm.
to play at my best right from the start, because I felt like I was already making bonds with all the players in the locker room.
Mm. Yeah, 100%, dude. I mean, I think it's super underrated, and as I get older and play on more teams and in more countries, I realize, and I've talked about it with tons of my friends who are pros all around the world. The happier you are off the pitch, the better along you get with your teammates off the pitch, the better you are on the pitch. Even if you're pros, you're making money, you know, that chemistry, that bond just helps you guys play better. So I mean, I think it's so important to, for the listeners, for the youngsters, whether you're playing, club, whether you're playing college or high school or professional, you want to try to integrate yourself into the group, and I think a key thing that you said is like you were trying to, assimilate yourself into the culture, right away and as soon as possible. And, when I first came over to Europe, I noticed something, I hope it's changed with a lot of Americans, but I had noticed a lot of Americans were coming over to, to clubs, and they were just, you know, acting American in a sense, like overboard and not trying to assimilate into the culture. And I think a lot of locals, what I've noticed, whether, I was in Germany, Sweden, Israel, or Latvia, when you don't respect the culture, people, look at you in the wrong light, and that can, give you a bad name. So I think it's so important to try to get used to the cultural norms and really get into the group, and then be able to create friendships and that bond, off the field, which you said is going to help you on the field, because obviously, the most important part, especially as a striker, is to have good communication with your teammates to get the ball in the right place. So, like you said, I'm sure that comfort off the field really helped you show your quality on the field.
Yeah, yeah, it did. And me personally, my personality, sometimes I'm kind of more quiet person. I'm not the guy in the locker room that's singing and just talking to everyone. I'm more I like to keep to myself and in my corner. So the fact that they even reached out their hands and made me feel more comfortable. I feel like it in terms of in the locker room and bonding with these guys, it kind of broke me out of my shell a little bit faster
Mm,
and
that's awesome.
easier, and it definitely helped out. Um, I really appreciated it, and
For
those
sure.
guys, and I wish them all the best.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you spent one season there before making your move to Portugal?
Yeah, I spent one season and then a couple of matches in the second season. I think I played second season.
Mm,
Made here to my current team on transfer deadline day. So
wow.
it was
Mhm.
a stuff.
Yeah. And how'd that move come about? Help the help of an agent or just based off of connections from the past?
Yeah, so basically, I met my current agents from my agency, Oxy Sports, during during the summer. Basically, put up a season. I felt like I needed some sort of agent behind me to help me make a move somewhere, and just basically them work on the deals behind the doors and just have myself focus on soccer because I felt like at the time I was focusing on soccer, and then obviously you want to make a move to a better team, and you're always thinking about this, and if you don't have an agent, it's basically on yourself. And I feel like I don't want to spend my time focusing on those aspects of the game. I just want to focus on the most important, which is my performance and me doing my best on the field. Because if I'm not doing the best on the field, then those opportunities aren't going to arise. So
Mm-hmm.
I felt like it was best to join an agency and meet an agent, and basically was my dad was talking with someone back home that knew an agent here in Portugal, put me in contact. I met with them. They felt like we had a good connection, and I ended up deciding to sign with them. And I signed with them basically at the start of the season, and so the second season of in Slovenia. And after a couple of months, they were able to work out this deal, and
Mm,
jumped on it because
nice.
at the end of the day, going from Slovenian second division to Portugal's second division is a big jump, and that's the type of jump that you want to make.
For
Always
sure.
try to make that jump one step higher to reach the highest level possible.
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, a key thing that you said there, I mean, um, I think one of the biggest parts an agent plays in a player's career is, you have them do the thinking and you just focus on the playing, like you said. Because I think, I've been in a situation where I'm negotiating deals, negotiating money,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm thinking about playing as well, and it just makes no sense. So I think, you know, uh, once you get to that level, I think it's definitely important, and when you're putting up the numbers you did and you have the highlights, I think it's definitely important to find someone that, you trust.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
Yeah. So how's the adaptation been to Portugal? How's the level over there? I mean, how's everything been over there?
Um, Personally, I feel like it wasn't the greatest season, and in my eyes, in my mind, I always I'm kind of a perfectionist. So the fact
Mm,
the type of the season that I had last year, the season I'm having this year, it's kind of disappointing on myself. I think that the adaptation period that they expected me to have in Slovenia, I feel like felt like actually had an adaptation period here in Portugal. The level was a little bit faster. Quality of players was a little bit higher. I could really tell when I first got here. It definitely took me a couple of months to even feel like myself. Um,
Mm.
I even spoke with my friends from back home. Basically, I feel like I understand these guys at the top level. You see some guys make the move to these prem teams, and people are on Twitter um, talking poorly about them and their recent performances and
Yeah.
these things. And it really goes to, I really started thinking about like these guys are just having an adaptation period, which is something that's normal. You go from one
Hmm.
one climate, one style of football that's completely different to the one that you're at now. It takes time to adjust and even just feel comfortable. Like just being in a new apartment, being in a new atmosphere. The guys are, for me, it was easier in terms of the locker room because I speak Portuguese and I grew up speaking it, but just adapting to these things and seeing, just being in a different environment, like walking outside your apartment and it's not the same as last year or even just a couple
Mm.
of weeks ago. It's just a complete difference. In Slovenia, I was living in a smaller type of city, kind of more of like a village type. So you wouldn't really see as many people like here in Lisbon. It's a lot more
Hmm.
bigger of a city, so you see a lot more people on the street and stuff like that, and just these little things that people take for granted that they don't really think about.
Absolutely.
They just think it's, oh, at the end of the day, it's just football and stuff like that. But it's really,
Hmm.
you have to feel comfortable to play at your best, and I feel like I really felt that.
Mm.
I feel like I started getting better and stuff like that, and in training I felt like I was starting to perform better, and even now I feel a lot more comfortable than what I was uh, probably 6 months ago when I first got here.
Hmm. For sure, for sure. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's it's so easy to criticize and be a keyboard warrior, and speak about, oh yeah, this guy's getting more money. Why is he playing poorly? But if they've never been in the shoes of a pro and moving country to country, even year by year, you can't talk about it because, like you said, I mean, I think the familiarity of the place plays a huge role, and then it takes time to get into that comfort zone, into the flow of the training. Even though you speak the same language, still just getting used to hearing the language on the pitch. So yeah, I 100% agree. So, how many games you guys have left this season?
We have 2 games, so we have one
Wow.
tomorrow and then we have one next week.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, it hasn't been the best season for the team. We're in the playoff spot for relegation. But if we win the next 2 matches, well,
Hmm.
if the team in front of us lose one of their next 2 matches, we'll
Mm.
stay in the second division. So it's going to be a fight and a grind these next
Yeah.
2 matches.
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty of European football. It's something
Exactly.
that you don't really experience in the U.S. in terms of MLS. There's no
Mm.
competition, so at the end of the season, some games they kind of don't really matter for the teams that
Yeah.
are in those last couple of spots. It just it's pretty stressful.
Yeah.
It's the first time
Yeah.
I've been in this situation, and it
Yeah.
definitely, like, I feel it for sure.
Yeah.
I go to bed just thinking about the game and just all these different scenarios run through your mind, and just thinking about it. It's definitely something that's new to me, but it's also
Yeah.
fun at the same time. Because these
Mm-hmm.
to me much more. These are the type of games I these
Mm.
games. You just want
Yeah.
to do your best and show what you're capable of.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like you said, that makes the beauty of European football. I think, a lot of players who just play in the US, they don't feel that excitement to promote or that pressure to be relegated. Actually, one of my best friends was playing in Israel for many years, and he got in the first league, and then he got a trial at MLS at one of the better teams. And I asked him, how's training been? And he's like, dude, it's honestly terrible. He's like, the guys are great players, but they don't take it as seriously as Israel because there's no pressure, and that really, opened my eyes as well to that. So it's definitely interesting. Who knows if the U.S. will ever adapt, to the promotion relegation, but we all hope, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just more difficult in terms of that because of all the fees
Exactly.
teams
Exactly.
to get
Exactly.
so
Yeah, exactly.
one can always hope. Definitely
Yeah,
feel like bring more fans and more excitement.
exactly. Yeah. hmm More of a football culture. So yeah, I mean, as we get towards the end of the interview, I just, couple more questions. If you could just share like a typical day in the life, right now in Portugal. Just I like to see like youngsters to see how you treat yourself on and off the field, and just a typical day in the life of a pro. Just give them a little what you do day to day.
So for myself personally, I'll get up at 7:45. I'll First thing I do, I get up and hop in the shower and take a cold shower. I've been doing that for the past 6 months, and I feel like it's something that I just feel better when I do it. So it's something that I've been doing daily, every day. I'll hop in there. I'll put on a timer for 5 minutes and then hop out. Just obviously brush my teeth, make breakfast. Usually have some sort of bread with some jam, or some oatmeal with some fruit, and then around 8:45 I'll head over to the training facility where we're supposed to arrive at 9:30, but I usually arrive at around 9:05, 9:15. I like to be early. That's something I also take pride in, is I don't think that anybody should be late. I think punctuality is something very important. So basically just try and get in at around those times. And I also don't want to get fined. That's another thing in pro sports. There's fines for almost everything. So, and just nice way to avoid those things. Then I'll basically just get ready. If I feel like I need to do some mobility, I'll do mobility. Just hang around basically in the locker room. There's always something going on, always conversations going on. Just just basically do those things. Training starts at 10:30, so head out to the field, play some two touch, then train. After training, I like to probably 4 days of the week. I'll do a little core core exercises and just do that. Basically, just I think that core strength is very important for footballers, and it's something that you should focus on. And it's just something that I enjoy to do. And then basically, the good thing about being a pro is your your work is just football. So after that, you basically have your whole afternoons always free. Um, I like to do different activities. I'm pretty close with three of the guys on the team, so we usually head out to lunch together. Um, like yesterday, we had lunch together and we went bowling after just to hang out, and it's I feel like that's important. Building connections with guys on your team and these things definitely help.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot better than just going home and laying on the couch all day watching Netflix. So it's nice to have a group of guys that you're friends with, and you're able to do things in the afternoon. So basically just do that, lunch and hang out with friends, and then I'll probably get home around 4, 5 o'clock. I'll sometimes if I feel like the session was light, I'll go do gym work at the gym near my house. Um, if I felt like it was a more difficult session and I'm more tired, I'll hang around and watch some TV, and then just basically make dinner at 7.
Mm.
7:30 is when I usually like to have my dinner, and then watch games. If there are games on, I'll toss them on, and then basically around 9:30 or 10 I'll shut off the TV, head out to brush my teeth and stuff like that, read a book, couple of pages before I head to bed. I'll try to be in bed by 10:30, 10:45, and then just basically repeat everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man, that's really solid. You know, like you said, I mean, seems so sexy from the outside, from a lot of people wondering, and they want
Yeah,
to see the vlogs and they want to see the beautiful things. But you know, the life of a pro is just, you know, like you described, routine, disciplined,
yeah,
and just doing the simple and the little things every day repeatedly. You know. So yeah, man, appreciate it a lot. Uh, you know, really appreciated this interview, man. Just want to, you know, finish off with a couple quick fire questions and then ask you the last question. So yeah, answer these in as little words as you want. So best player you ever played against?
uh would probably be Weston McKinney. Played
Wow,
him our U16 year in the national championship, and yeah, he
you saw his potential then.
yeah.
Yeah. What did you notice? You know, the difference between him and the other players.
um just his physical ability, like the first goal he scored, he it seemed like he jumped over the crossbar and headed the ball in or something. It was unbelievable, and just the way he dictated the game, it was truly something special. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, you can just tell these different things. I honestly was blessed to after that. I also was blessed to play with him, and I could
Oh, wow.
in training sessions with him at the national team. You could tell like it was a lot easier to see that this
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
kid's really special. It was
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure, man. I mean, yeah, I mean, just those small differences at a young age. It was the same thing. I played against Jordan Morris, and I was playing left back. He was playing right wing, dude. Like, dude, he blew by me. You know, put in a cross. They ended up winning 1-0. And I said to my teammates after the game, this was like 15. I was like, I'm telling you right now, that guy's gonna be playing big time football.
yeah.
So yeah, you just notice those things, man. But yeah, I was gonna ask you best player you ever played with. So best player besides Weston that you've played with.
Tyler Adams.
You got a squad squad you
Yeah,
played with.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Tyler Adams, he's engine. You see it
yeah.
in Leeds. He's an engine, and he's always when you
Yeah.
talk about work ethic, he's number one in my book.
Yeah. Yeah. Wins every second ball,
Yeah,
that guy. Is always in the right place, man.
he if you look at his heat map, it's just the whole field is
Yeah.
painted. There's
Yeah.
not a blade
Yeah.
of grass that he leaves untouched. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, dude. Great to see, man. Dream destination.
Dream destination in terms of football?
Football, yeah.
I don't know if I should say it since I'm here in Portugal, but it would be Benfica.
Oh, love it.
Yeah.
Love it. And then dream travel destination.
Um, I'd like to go to Seoul, South Korea. It's
That's a good call.
I like I like Asian culture a lot, and
Yeah,
I would love to go out there and go check it out and see that myself.
for sure. How about favorite destination or vacation you've been on besides Portugal?
It'd be I went to Turin and Rome, Italy. Um, it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
it was definitely um, great. I grew up loving Italian culture as well, and my sister even
especially in
joked
New
around.
Hyde Park, New
Yeah,
York.
my sister joked with me all the time, saying that I was Italian, not Portuguese. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can see that. I can see that. Um, favorite healthy meal?
favorite healthy meal,
Yeah,
I would say probably some cod, baked cod with some vegetable, probably asparagus and some potatoes.
that's a good call, bro. So, with that being said, favorite cheat meal?
Favorite cheat meal is probably going to be halal. I
Yeah,
love
that's a
halal.
good
A
call.
little
Yeah,
mix over rice.
yeah, that's a great call. And then last one, your favorite book?
Favorite book, How to Make Your Bed. I I really enjoyed that one, and I read that during COVID when I was training, and I took those things to heart, and even to this day, I still make my bed. I feel like when I was
Yeah, I
growing
gotta
up,
check that out.
yeah, when I was growing
Yeah.
up, my mom would always yell at me to make my bed, and I feel like ever since then, I read that book, I always make my bed first thing.
Mm,
It's basically just the start your day off with a win, and that's the first one every
exactly.
day.
Yeah. Now you're hitting the cold showers though.
Yep. I
Yeah,
I
yeah,
used
yeah.
to hate cold shower. I used to always, I know I had a couple teammates at Loyola that would take cold showers, and I would, oh, you're crazy for taking cold showers. I could
Yeah,
never.
yeah,
And now here I am.
yeah, 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 exactly. So yeah, last question of the day. If you can go back to any age, with the knowledge that you have today, 24, playing two different countries, what age would you go to and what would you tell yourself?
I think I'd go to my senior year in high school when I was 17, and I'll tell myself to take it more serious than what you are, and really apply yourself. And I think that having all this knowledge and different experiencing different play styles of football and all this work ethic that I've instilled since then, I feel like I could be at a much better level at that age, and maybe instead of going undrafted, uh, maybe I could have signed a homegrown with Red Bulls
Mm,
with the knowledge that I know now. So probably then.
mm. Yeah, man, makes a lot of sense. But I mean, obviously, as we always say, you learn and can't make second guesses. So,
Yeah,
like you said before, you wouldn't be at where you're at right now without those experiences. So,
yeah,
yeah, man, appreciate you having you on, man. Great story, and love to hear how you persisted and you're doing well now. So appreciate it, man. If anyone wants to find you, ask you some questions, where's the best place? Instagram?
yeah. Instagram at
Oh,
Saramago season.
perfect. Yeah, I'll put that below in,
Yeah.
in the description. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it, man. Good luck with the rest of the season and the relegation battle.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate you having me, and it was great
Yeah,
to hop on and finally chat with you. I feel like we've been
of course.
trying to get this for months now. Glad we
Yeah,
could finally make it
absolutely.
happen.
Absolutely, brother.
Homie, thanks so much for tuning into the podcast. I really appreciate you giving me your eyes and your ears. I hope you learned as much as I did from this podcast episode. Tons of golden nuggets in there. If you need to, go back, rewatch it, take notes, and put those notes into actuality. Because as I always say, it's easy to listen, it's easy to watch things, but you have to take that advice and apply it to your life right away to actually see results from that advice. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please drop a like, please hit that subscribe button, please recommend my channel to family, to friends. I don't do any ads at all on this podcast, on my YouTube channel, on Instagram, any of my social media. All I ask is for your full support and tons of recommendations to friends and family. Stay safe, stay healthy, have a great rest of the day. Deuces.